Hello, and and welcome to Wednesday. I'm here live on Life Clarifications with Natasha. I'm here to support you going through your life. I'm a psychic medium, intuitive medium. I do a lot of emotional work. I do a lot of helpfulness in bringing awarenesses to you. My hair's going driving me crazy today. So, natural wave. It literally gets you going crazy, crazy. So with that, I wanted to support you going through your life. So I have been a multiply life, multi-life. There we go. Multi-life intuitive, because I spent many lifetimes being intuitive. I remember all those things, and it's like dimensionals around me and everything like that. So if you're wondering about life and how to get through life a little bit, remember I'm here for you. I'm one that I really enjoy supporting you, doing your work, doing what you need to do because it's your story, your truth. And that's one thing that I always have a perspective of is that it's your truth that, you can work through. And, we're coming into a new truth coming forward type of thing. So today's show is going to be on emotions and how to listen to the universe because a lot of our emotions are triggered by the universe around us, right? So many of us are struggling with friendships. Many of us are struggling with life. Many of us are struggling with how to be in the story of who we are. And, we forget that emotions are part of it, just like we forget our body is part of it. We forget that, we are a part of our own life. Many times we get into the stories of things, right, that just kind of don't go in the perspective that we were looking for. And it's always a dance. It's always a dance on how do we negotiate this? How do we negotiate that, right? So, believing in who you are is part of this story that we're going through. I have to, things just don't feel right to me today. So, kind of going forward here. So, how do you yourself deal with emotions? Do you honor them? Do you feel like you know them? If you suffer with anxiety, I know I do a little bit. I've worked through much anxiety in my life. I watched my mom work through a whole lot of anxiety, and so it wasn't necessarily named anxiety at that time. It was, like my mom, she just didn't want to sit down and watch movies because she felt anxious, she said, but they didn't call it like anxiety. They didn't call it all these things that we're getting names to, right? Hello, Hillary. And how on Instagram. So I'm live on Instagram. I'm live on Twitter. I'm live on Facebook, and I'm live um, on Facebook. So if you're anywhere, I would love good comments. This is a conversation I'd like to have because it's perspectives. We all have different perspectives, and so all our emotions have different perspectives, right? And so with that, going forward, it's how do we negotiate those stories of our emotions, of our beings, if all those things that are coming forward in our life. Well, when we move into the sorrows of our lives, that's a thing that I have witnessed myself. I have to go to myself here because I'm the one that knows me very well. Hello, Veronica. Thank you for being here again. That knowing myself as I do, I can speak about myself because it's fair, right? That going through a lot of these scenarios of emotions because if you look at astrology, I have so many planets in water, and water is about emotions. And so with that I have, I'm just like totally into the story of how do we do this. And so that's where I kind of come as I don't want to call an expert by any means, but someone who's practiced dealing with emotions quite well. And I've practiced also listening to the universe and how that we can negotiate those things around us so we're less triggered in the emotion at the time, right? Because if we listen to the universe, many times we're not in the domino effect of it. We're in the blessed part of it. So how do we negotiate life in our emotions? Do we talk with them? No, most of us don't. Do we acknowledge? Do we blow up in an instant because something doesn't go right because of our perfectionism? Or our stories of victimhood or anything like that. And I can tell you that it's okay to be any of those, right? It's okay to be a victim. It's okay to be the story of of who we are, and that kind of thing. But how do we negotiate that in ourselves that we can hold on to life a little bit more, right? So, you know, do you ever acknowledge when you are mad? Yes or no, Do you acknowledge when you're sad to yourself? Do you acknowledge, well, I'm kind of feeling a little bit sad here? Do you uh do you acknowledge that you are extremely happy? Do you acknowledge that you are melancholy? What do you do for yourself to acknowledge where you're at? I know for me that when, I had something happened to me a couple weeks ago, and God, this just seems like yesterday, but then it was a couple weeks ago, right? And I was kind of wondering, some things, and victimhood kind of came along here. That was part of the story because it was stirring up a lot of my old patterns of being bullied, about being less than, about being overlooked, about not having anything to help me out, no friends, so that victimhood really came up, right? Well, don't feel sorry for me, please, because I moved past it. But, we have these scenarios that circle back around. And I can tell you right now, we're getting circled around a lot. There's a lot of things that happened in our younger years that is really triggering us now. I don't care what age you are. You can be, 10 years old. You can be 110 years old. It doesn't matter in between there how you are because of how old you are, because we always circle around. And even when we think that we've taken care of something, right? Being abused, being bullied, whatever that story is, right? Being forgotten, being dropped off at a grandmother's house and never picked up again by your parents, all of these, scenarios that some of us go through that, and I had a blessed life in the house. It wasn't necessarily trauma free. We all had something to deal with, but at the same time, though, my real lessons, I'm going to say the really harsh lessons, um, those really harsh lessons that I learned were after I left the house, right? That's when I married my first time, married a drug addict, basically. And he stole money from my parents. I was only married to three, hello, everyone. I was only married 3 years to him, but he really put me through the ringer, right? And then I married my husband now and didn't really realize, because I never drank when I was younger, or my family didn't really drink, that my husband was an alcoholic, and I didn't realize the tug and pull of that whole story. Well, lessons are about experiences, and experiences are about lessons. And I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Thank you very much. I'm here to help you. So, going into this dance of who we are, we're really getting triggered by a lot of things. And, remember, when you get very tired, we become very raw. And when we become very raw about how things are, you know, we forget to have discernment. And, I don't know if anybody knows really what that word means, because it is a stretch and pull. I need to discern how I am with others, right? What do I say? What do I do? Who am I? Do I discern my emotions are valid at this minute, that I am actually feeling like I'm being bullied? I'm going to discern that right now, because it's my truth, my perspective, right? um and when we're going through these these stories of who we are, there isn't anything that we can really do about it except for acknowledge really what's happening. Um, Thank you, Jones. Appreciate that. Please keep comments to a nice um, comments here because I understand who I am, and I'm grateful. So nope, I'm not. Nobody's going to be on my show. So with that going into this dance of emotions, that we got to really listen to them. If we're angry, have you ever thought about talking to your, and I've said this before on my shows before, and I'm sorry if I'm repeating those who've watched before, talk to your friends like or talk to your emotions like they're your best friend. How would you how would you treat your best friend if they were angry? Right? How would you treat your best friend if they were sad? How would you treat your best friend if they were feeling shamed about what they just did? What would you tell your best friend if they were shamed that they had a bad conversation with someone? What would you say to them, right? Well, many of us are we have to be our own best friend, and we forget about that piece because of the fact that no matter where we're at and what we're doing, that we have to be our own advocate, right? We have to be. And not to say that we're always right, not to say we're always wrong, but there is this thing about being able to own our own being, right? Own our own knowings, own our own values, because of the fact that there's so many truths coming out right now that are chewing us up and telling us that we're not valid anymore, right? So believing in you is part of owning the whole part of us. We have a body that feels. Many of us have digestive problems. Many of us have scenarios that are troubling to us, and then our knees start hurting, and then our gut starts hurting, and then we get headaches, and then our back hurts, and then many of us are so many caregivers out there, you know, but we forget about to put us on the list for caregiving. So, can you, in a practice moving forward, start treating yourself better like a best friend? And many times I imagine this best friend sitting on the side of me, right? It's sitting over here, believing who we are, doing what we're doing. So, you can name your best friend your emotions. E. Hi, E. How you doing? I know that today we're really tired and we're struggling because we don't feel valued. Okay. E, what would you say? How can I help you out, E? How can I help you out with that moment of being who you are? Because of the fact that doing this dance, doing this emotions and doing that's why we're on this planet, is to feel the full emotion of that. Feel the prickle of who we are. Feel that prickle of what's happening. Because I always said this, I'm going to try to do this. So one hand is going down for those on a podcast. One hand's going down and one hand's going up. Kind of like you're trying to go, you're either going to go down into the valley of life or you're going to go up the hill, right? So there's a crossroads. You can either go up or you can go down. Well, many of us stay in the story of our life. I was victimhood. I was bullied. I was given no teachings on how to negotiate people around me. Yeah, right? No, not to dishonor you, because I was there myself at one point in time. I don't speak about anything that I haven't lived through myself. And that's why I like to help you, is because I've stretched and pulled myself here and there. What is this about? Why am I feeling this? What is going on here? What is happening here? And I really want to help you go through this. So if you are looking for some help and you're really struggling and if you're going to counseling and the traditional counseling isn't helping, my perspective being intuitive, I can see many reasons why things are happening. And people say, "How do you get all that at the same time?" And I'm like going, it's just the way I'm made up, because there is this dance of who we are and working through what we're going through. So, how do you listen to yourself? Listen to, because of the fact that the world around us, and this is where I want to talk about how the universe is showing us things, right? So, The universe will set up scenarios outside of you to help you acknowledge what's going to need to be worked on the inside of you. The inside of you would be your mind's thoughts, your emotional base, your traditional belief systems, whatever you believe in, that knowing of perspectives, right? And so the universe is going to put things in place in front of you to help you learn those things. So, how do I know that? Because I'm going to give you a scenario just lately, right? That I was doing a reading at a fair. This person was an amazing person. I really liked her. I could talk to her for hours, right? But there was something trickster about it. There was an untruth about this session, and I'm sitting here, especially towards through the whole thing. Actually, there's a part of me that's saying, should I stop this? Should I trust this? Right? Should I do this the better way? And I hold high integrity, so with that I don't necessarily play the games, or I will walk through the scenario, but I will do something better, right? So I do have integrity. So during this session, this person was kind of giving me basically she started out with, I don't know about moving in the next couple years. And I started out saying, right now, and I would tell anybody this, that, if you want a timeline with something, there is no timeline because time is changing. Life is changing. We're moving forward. It's going quickly, right? So in this story of doing this, that this person was really starting to give me very vague scenarios, okay? And vague scenarios are are a key for people who are, you know, I don't know, like the language that came to me, and sometimes I put animals as a perspective to know how to negotiate it. So like I felt like coyote was that trickster. So coyote represents trickster. Think about what you need to do. Are you gonna be it's not a dog, so it's not about loyalty, but it's about they go hunting, they trick their people, right? They trick things. And so in Native American First Nation traditional belief systems, coyote is a trickster. And if you want to talk about trickster, so if you ever watch the Marvel movies, that would be Loki in the Marvel movies on the you know how uh oh gosh, it's right there, it's right there, right there. If anybody has the words for me, I would appreciate it. So Loki, and he was Thor's brother, right? And so Loki has actually coyote energy, that trickster. Believe me this way, and I'll trick you this way, right? And so this person had that feeling of coyote energy, and she was giving me, so long story short here, that she triggered in a part of me that was like, um, should I believe myself? Should I trust myself? And being a multi-life intuitive, I have practiced many lifetimes being me. And I know for me that when I get into a situation, my intuitiveness comes over, and I don't have to, there goes fly. Whew, did you see that? you know, but fly here, fly is about, getting the bigger vision. Let's be willing to go through the shit to get to our nutrition that we need, right? So going into this dance, I really had to say, I know I didn't give you a full reading here. There was a lot of misunderstandings, and I apologize. I hope that something was helping for you, but I also know that there's going to be some of this that you're going to sit in a couple of days and go, she actually was telling me a truth, right? Because many times when somebody sits in a reading, they're like, nah, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me. And it's like, actually, the shadow work is part of us, and we need to look at it. So now, what did that scenario, not calling her the coyote, but what did that energy do to me? It triggered an old part of me about not believing in me, right? It lasted about 3 minutes, made me ponder, made me think. Made me kind of I checked in with a fellow friend who did readings that day. Did you read this person? Did you get a same perspective on it? Just checking in with my own truth, right? So I was listening to the outside of me. What did that person, I'm not naming the name because I try to take the person out of the situation. Because when we label it with the person, when we label it with the scenario, that person at work did la da da, instead of I had a situation at work and I'm kind of wondering about it. So if we take the person out of the situation, it takes the judgment off of the person, because the person was just the messenger of the message, right? In the metaphorical sense. That the scenario is okay, feeling victimhood here, feeling the scenario, feeling like, oh, wait a minute, had done like 10 sessions right before that, and she was the 11th session, so it was a busy day, right? Of doing 15-20 minute sessions, half hour sessions, so it was a busy day. But how can I negotiate when that energy comes again? That's the story, right? How can I negotiate the next time something comes up? Because I can tell you the universe circles things around and around and around again. So when we're going into these stories of what are we triggered with, take the person out of it. Take the scenario out of it. Because if you can take the scenario of the person out of it, okay, I had a situation. Okay. The situation was labeled such and such. What was that labeling trying to teach me? And if we can take the label out of who we are and what we're doing, that it becomes less tricked into it, right? Because we get so tricked up by people around us instead of the scenario. Hmm. Kind of like the person who was, I was getting gas one day. And there was a person who, I was at a gas station. There's only a couple people there. It was midday, mid morning type of thing. And all of a sudden, here's this lady. She's beautiful, but you could tell she was on something because she's screaming at the top of her lungs and she's heading off to go to Safeway to go to the bathroom, probably, or something like that, right? But what was the first reaction that I did? Am I safe? And I had to say, wait a minute. I am safe. I'm aware of my surroundings. I acknowledge things are. Oh, what would be plan A, plan B if she started heading this way? Stand my ground, quickly get in my car and lock the door, go into the gas station place, right? And so when we're going into these knowings of who we are, check in. It's not necessarily she was icky and she was weird and blah, blah, blah. No. The scenario was this person was screaming at the top of their lungs. That scenario, somebody was screaming at the top of their lungs, triggered in me a scenario. What can I do to protect myself? Well, I can tell you that 5-10 years ago, I would have protected myself differently than I do now. I have different trust in myself. I have different trust in the situation around me, right? And so with that, believing in who we are, what is that story of who we are, can really help us be our better self. So there again, that emotion of being fearful, that emotion of questioning, can I do it? That emotion of being who we are was triggered by the outside of me. So now, being triggered on the outside of me, I made sure that the next couple steps that I went through, that I felt more protected. I felt more secure about myself. So then when I went to the fair and I dealt with this other scenario, not the person, but the scenario of feeling like I was playing with a coyote, energy, the trickster energy, I realized how much I needed to be strong in myself, right? Because it is about who are we in ourself. And it didn't matter if the trickster wanted to tricks me, because I knew that I was said things in integrity. I trusted what I was saying. I was checking in with my intuitiveness, my higher self, and my guides, her guides, trying to get the clearer message. But sometimes when people want to be read, they don't put down all their guards, right? And so they're not vulnerable enough to get the full story. And that's a little bit of what was going on there now that I'm saying that. So now when I come up to that scenario again, what emotion am I going to have? Right? What emotion am I going to have? I'm going to have more of an emotion of security, knowing that I can see what it is right there, because I can tell you that the next time that comes along, that scenario is not going to be the same person. So that's why I take the people off the scenario, the situation, and I bring in the situation so I can deal with the situation whenever it appears. I'm not stuck on the person. I'm not stuck on the scenario. I'm stuck on what was the lesson I was supposed to learn, where was I supposed to look at it, and how am I supposed to do it? So when we get these emotions about, going forward, it's not about this or that. And so when I was at the fair and I was teaching a class, someone asked the question, what happens when you do get interactive with someone who is upset? Good question. What do we do to fix the problem is one thing that I heard the person say in her own wording. And I said to myself, what I said was is that it's not our job to fix other people. It's not our job to fix others for who they are, but it's our scenario, our life calling in many ways. One reason to be human is to how do we interact with it so that we can help the situation. If somebody else is mad on the other side of that situation, how can we negotiate it, right? So, sometimes we have to honor being upset, that anger situation. How can we honor that situation? Well, for me, a lot of times I honor the being angry by saying, to try to do better. I also, in a way, go in and I kind of say, you know what? I really respect that you're having a hard time right now. Thank you for trying to do what you were doing. If somebody, let's say, was trying to fix something and they blew up because they were trying to do right, thank you for your effort. I really see you were trying. I really appreciate that bigger story you were trying to do for us, right? And then I think of life as a pendulum, right? A pendulum, going back and forth, right? Well, if that pendulum let me get two things here. If somebody's upset, right, one pendulum is swinging faster than the other, right? And they're upset, so it's doing faster. So if I walk into a room, right, as I'm moving the other stick, and this pendulum is moving quicker, what I'm going to notice is I'm going to keep that pendulum. I mean, it's going to be hard to do this both hands here. So, I'm going to keep mine, but I'm not going to meet that person where they're at. I can't. I'm not angry. I'm not frustrated, but I'm going to honor the situation, right? And pretty soon, when you send loving kindness, understanding, serenity, acceptance for the situation, your stuff is your stuff, mine is mine. What happens to the pendulums? They start coming together and start moving together. Or they stay individual, but they start moving into a pattern, right? And believe me, I've practiced this. I live with a lot of Leos. They roar, they get angry, right? So how can we negotiate some of this story? And if we hold space in ourselves, hold space in us, negotiate our emotions. Holy crap, that person's angry. Ugh. Okay, now I'm going to use discernment. Do I get angry too? Do I react or do I interact? So remember, practice makes better in this whole conversation because it's not about right or wrong. You know, there's sometimes where I have anger issues, right? And the other person around me doesn't. So with that, believe in that moment of, what would you do if your best friend was like that? Are you here to sabotage that situation, or are you here to support it? Because when we are put up to something, let's say if we're put up to, let's say the woman who, when I was getting gas, was screaming, when we're put up to that situation, if we're put up to someone who's treating us wrong, if we're put up to that person who's angry, or we're put up to someone who we love shows us that we're not lovable, or because some of us good people are married to narcissists, right? How can we negotiate this story? Remember, our individual energy, moving the pencil back and forth, our individual energy is what matters. Can we stay in our own selves? And the key here is, do we react or interact? Many of our friends' emotions don't want us to react. They want us to interact so that we can do better by our lives. We can do better in our lives. And going forward, it's not an easy dance. Oh my gosh, I could tell you that right now in the planetary system of signs, we're in the sign of Cancerian. And there's a lot of things that are going to trigger us, and our emotions can be triggered. Please don't overthink things. Work with it. Negotiate what you can do with it. Be your better self. Practice to do better, because no matter where we're at and what we're doing, we're here to learn. Our soul work is to learn. Our soul work, the reason why we're on this planet, is to be our better selves. It takes practice to do that. It really takes a lot of practice to do that. So, how can we negotiate that? Not everybody is taught how to do better, but that's where you go to someone who can help you out with that. My life calling is to support you going through your life, going through your emotions. And I would love to support you. And I keep my prices reasonable enough so that, because I don't take insurance, but I can take what I can with helping you. So if you're struggling with your emotions, if you're struggling with why is life doing this to me, if you're struggling with a lot of these scenarios that don't feel better to you and you keep getting triggered by them, please get help. It's time to learn to do better, because we're finding our own truths. And I can tell you that there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with our family truths. And because they don't fit anymore. Some of our family members went to church left and right, but then, they swore up and down and were so mean to us. It was amazing how many ministers abused their family, right? And so with that when we're not in the story of who we are, and we don't get out of that story of who we are, we get stuck. And it's time for us to lift up out of it. It's time to lift up out of it. Because of the fact that there's many spiritual people or spiritual growing people who are struggling with believing in what is. And I know for me that I really do work with a lot of belief systems. You know, I believe in dragons, I believe in star beings, I believe in animals, I believe in, Jesus, I believe in Mother Mary, I believe in ascendant masters. Even Tesla is ascendant master, right? All those beings are here to support us. It doesn't matter what we believe in. Archangel Michael, Azrael. I work with Azrael quite a bit. The ultimate timekeeper. So believe in your story is what can help you be. To believe in you is where we're at. And remember, we can either rise up out of the story or we can stay down in the story. In the story, if we stay down in the story, that's where we're going to keep getting beaten up. But if we get out of the story by unlabeling the situation, unlabeling the parent, unlabeling the brother, unlabeling the scenario, and saying, I got physically abused. Okay, what are you going to do with that emotion? What are you going to do with that scenario? I got raped. What are you going to do with that situation? Right? What do we do with that? Like for me, when I was younger, I'm fine now. I've worked through it, but I was raped by a brother or a neighbor, the older brother, and the younger brother walked in and watched us or looked in and then closed the door. Now, that scenario did trigger me for quite a few years because I actually forgot about it until life brought it back around to me, right? So what I had to look at is that I was abused by someone, and then that someone, another person, another situation was what I was witnessed, and that witnessing closed the door. So taking the people out of it again, I had to look at what was the scenario and how can I work with that darkness that is in me. How can I work with that darkness that was presented, was almost given to me in that scenario? What can I do to find my voice again? Because that voice was undone. Do you see how I'm bringing this back to me? Because that scenario outside of me was part of the journey that I needed to learn to find my voice and have boundaries. I didn't have boundaries at that time. I don't remember what happened before that. But when we have boundaries, when we learn to have boundaries later, that's where I had to have boundaries with people who came after that, right? I had to learn to have a voice. No means no. And I'm telling you that now. That's why I'm asking for kinder video. I mean, like someone mentioned before this, thank you very much that you like my eyes. But boundaries. Thank you for liking my eyes. They're the doorway to my soul, right? But at the same time, though, blessed be to you. So going forward, believe in you. Remember that our emotions can be our friend, right? Can be our friend. Who is that angry right now? What would you say to your best friend? E. I'm going to call my new emotions name is E. Hi, E. Hi, or Ellie. Ellie, maybe? I don't know. Ellie for emotionally. Struggling right now, right? What can we name our emotions? How can we be with it? How can we know who we are? And, the more we get to know ourselves, the easier life gets, right? So if you're interested in having an appointment with me, you can go to angelicclarifications.com. Check out my website. I do enjoy having sessions to help you. I do sessions over Zoom. I also do them over phone. And if you live in the area, I can do it safely, meet up or whatever, right? Because I want to help you. I want to help you. This is a calling for me to help you. So believing in that story. So at this minute, I love to do oracle card readings, and I figured that this is a good time to do that, to give oracle card readings. I'm going to do the Path of the Soul today. So if you would like a card, oops, the Fae wanted to come along for the ride. And I would do that Fae card, but yet at the same time, I would have to read quite a bit. Okay, so if you would like a oracle card of the Path of the Soul, please let me know. These cards are amazing, and each one has a message. So I am going to start. So what I do is that you don't have to tell me anything. All you do is say I want a card reading, and I will definitely Veronica, yes, please. Thank you. I will get you here in a minute. So what I do is I ask you to put your intentions out there. It's kind of like writing a text. You have your information out, that you're going to type a text, but you haven't pushed send yet. Well, you can do it without pushing the text. You don't have to tell me what your scenario is. And remember that you want a reading, please? Yes, I can do that for you. Thank you very much, Ginger. So Veronica. Okay, so Veronica, here it is. So Veronica, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to put your intention, what you're asking the universe to do, and then and remember, if you don't get a card reading or you are looking for it, remember something in every card reading can give you information, right? Okay, so Veronica, here we go for you. Woo! Okay, I can tell you, girl, that I am not going to read 4 pages here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask out of these 4, what is the pertinent one? And I'm getting it's this one right here. Ooh, that is a beautiful card. Oh, trying to get the glare off here. Sorry about that. There we go. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so this is number 7. Number 7, Bull Guide. Bull Guide. Okay, here we go. Bull Guide appears to offer you strength as you move through your life. He imparts the teaching and wisdom of standing strong and firm when you need to, and not allowing others to cross your personal boundaries. Look at all the situations happening around you at this time. Bull Guide is here to help you be firm wherever you. Okay, sorry about that. Bull Guide is here to help you be firm wherever and whenever you need to be. He wants to remind you that you are strong and you are deeply supported as you find your way to your own self-esteem power. Okay, so I hope that helps. So you got a new guide here, Veronica, to help you through your situation. Okay. So now ginger snap. I like that. So Ginger, put out your intentions of what you would like. You don't have to write anything, just hold space for it. Hold that knowing of what the universe would like you to be and do. Okay. Thank you, Veronica. Yes, it was pretty, wasn't it? Okay, here's a card. What? Woo! Okay, so that card right there. Ooh, that is beautiful. Okay, this is yours, Ginger Snap. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so remember, if every card reading can have something for you as an individual, it doesn't matter if it's your reading or not. But if you'd like a reading, just say you please, and it's on Instagram or Twitter. Twitter, if you're on Twitter, if you would like a card reading, please go to my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter AC, and you read your comments. So number 12 for Ginger Snap. Okay. Fertile. This card is, okay, sorry about that. Let me start over again. Okay, fertile. This is the card of creation and fertility. Although it can signify a possibility of pregnancy, it also appears as an encouragement to begin taking action. Now is the time to start your groundwork for your deepest inner desires, dreams, ideas, or plans. All the conditions are right to setting things in motion. Bring things from the world of thought to form. So, in other words, it's time for you to start your life. I know for me that if you don't know which way to go, listen to the guidances. Um, Conversations with people. Like for me, I had a situation where I had a situation and I called somebody who might know a little bit more information. So I called and talked with them. They told me to do a comment, right? To do something. Then I was told in that conversation that I should ask somebody else, talk to somebody else. So when I talked to that other person, they mentioned to me that I should talk to somebody else. So with everything that is going on in life, remember that everything is a stepping stone. So listen to the guidances that you're getting and check in with it to see your truth. And if it isn't your truth, then figure out how to make it your truth. So like for me, one of those dot to dots was an information that I need to meet with someone that I didn't trust. So what did I do was I know I needed to meet with that person, but what I did was I brought somebody with me so I can meet with them, right? So I can have a witness to the situation. It wasn't about me being right. It wasn't about me being wrong, but it was just so that I can feel safer there, right? Awesome. I sure hope it's about my dreams and intentions. Thank you. Yes, it is. Because when we think about the metaphorical pregnancy, what does it take? We've been in the thinking mode, we've been in the process of doing mode, but how can we take what we've been thinking, our pregnancy mode, right? What can we do in that moment of our pregnancy to think about what's going to happen in our future? So remember, isn't that a beautiful card though? That preparation, opportunity, when they finally meet up, as I'm putting my fingers together, preparation, opportunity, you get to be where you go. So you gotta, but when you're doing this, please believe in yourself, because of the fact that many times when we have our dreams are in our head, but our emotions and our actions are what really can help us move forward. So if fear comes up, anxiety comes up, check to see if that anxiety, that fear is about stepping into something new that you're not too sure about. And if you're not too sure about it, practice makes better. So if you're not too sure about opening up a business, talk to people about opening up businesses. Like I was on the IRS website finding out about small businesses and information like that, so that I can go with a newer situations, right? So going into this knowing, it is about the stepping stones. Listen to the universe around you. What is it trying to tell you? Who is being asked to do this? If you have a fear, check into that fear. Check into who knows better to do better, right? Because it is about magic. It's about doing this. And, sometimes we have to fail to step forward. And failure is a learning process. It's not a failure, right? People think not doing it is a failure. No, many people who are billionaires, do you know how many times they failed before they made it? Okay, I'm going to take that word fail. How many times they had to practice again and again to make it better, right? So it's all about that. Okay, so I'm going to do a universal card here. Since nobody else has spoken up, you're more than welcome. Ginger Snap, thank you for being here. I'm so grateful that everybody's watching. So I'm going to do this card for everybody since nobody else has stepped up to wanting a card reading. Okay, what is the bigger message that we can say for the people who are watching? What do they need to know for their greater good? It's my intention that I'm putting out there for them. Remember, these are oracle cards, so they're just basic messengers. And if you're following, please like and share if you know somebody who can listen to this. There we go. Those jumped out. I saved them. There's two. So there's two. So the top one is this one. Isn't that pretty? And I'll read this. This one's for everybody. Beautiful. And then this is the second one. This is the second one. Isn't that neat how it kind of comes up and out? Okay. So this one is 19. So this one is a card for everyone. Clarity. So this can piggyback on on the people that got a card reading. Clarity. A beautiful clarity has begun for you. Your mental, physical, and emotional bodies are undergoing a detoxification process. You may have already noticed that your thought process are more clear and exact. Your physical body is running more energy, and the old issues are being released from your cells. Once this cleanse is complete, you can look forward to experiencing more joy, contentment in life. This clarity is also brings with a deeper understanding of your purpose here on earth. You are being renewed in every way. So remember, a lot of this new journey, and this is Ginger Snap, this is for you too, that I'm getting that it's about perception. So remember, we can go down the rabbit hole real easily in life, but perception can help us. So what are you saying? Is this a learning process or is this a failure? Perception, right? Perception. So there's one. And here's the second card I'm going to read. And then, so this one's number 17. Oh, so 1 plus 9 is a 10, and that's new beginnings. So new beginnings, clarity on your new beginnings. 17 is 8, the infinity sign. 1 plus 7 is 8. So 8 is the infinity sign. Isn't that pretty? And actually, it's like a seahorse, how it curls down and around. Sorry, going backwards here. It goes down and around. So it's almost like a seahorse. So let's see what it says. 17. Treasures. Treasures. What was once hidden from view can now be seen. Lying within you are many inner treasures and gifts. This is your time to discover. You have special and unique skills that you have hidden, like pearls in a shell. It is happening now. Stay grounded and clear. The spiral in this card shows the universe energies are working with you to help uncover what lies within. Understand, however, that once fully uncovered, you will be asked to use these gifts in service for others and the planet. So with that we are uncovering, and it is about the me, that I am good, so that we can be stronger as as a unity, as a group. But that's the thing, like I was saying in in the show earlier, that when I'm in a situation, I try to take the person out of the situation, because that helps take judgment out. That helps take the judgment out of life. So if we can take the judgment out of the life, it takes it into a purpose. What is this here to teach me? What can I do with this? What am I doing with this negotiation? Like I've had lately the mantra that I am surrendering, trusting, accepting, because I don't have all the information yet. So with that believing in you and your story, and remember, the process of life can be beautiful if you have that perception. So with that, please like, follow, and share. I love to communicate. I love to guide. So if you're looking for more individual help, like you, Ginger Snap, if you're looking at how to process getting your dreams going, that's what I do in sessions. I love to do that because right now we're all going through this story of who we are, right? So believe in who you are and know that you're amazing. And no matter what, life is life. So become friends with your emotions and trust that you are worthy of being your fuller self. I'm Natasha Venter, angeliclarifications.com. I am live Mondays and Wednesdays, 4 o'clock Pacific time. Instagram, I'm only live on Instagram on Wednesdays if I have no guest. But you can follow me on my website or on my YouTube channel, Natasha Venter AC. Blessings to you in your journey. And if you like podcasts, most of these shows are on podcasts also. Life Clarifications with Natasha. Blessings. Have a blessed day. Bye now.